Hey everyone, welcome back to Wins to Wisdom. Have you ever found yourself doing something really good, but secretly inside you're hoping that other people notice and you're hoping that you will get recognition for what you've done? Jesus knows about that temptation. And in today's study, this is what we're going to look at, because some of the most righteous people doing the most righteous acts are actually still missing the heart of God, and they're still missing their reward from God. So that's what we're going to break down today. So let us read. This is Matthew chapter 6, verses 1 to 4. Take heed that you do not do your charitable deeds before men to be seen by them, otherwise you have no reward from your Father in heaven. Therefore, when you do a charitable deed, do not sound a trumpet before you as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they might have glory from men. Assuredly I say to you, they have their reward. But when you do a charitable deed, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, that your charitable deed may be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will himself reward you openly. Now, the first thing I want to say here is charitable deed is not the right translation. When we look at it, you will see, although it's the same translation all the way through this scripture, this is not really an accurate translation of what Jesus is saying. So firstly, let's look at take heed. Take heed is pay attention, be careful. It's a warning, okay? So he's just saying, pay attention, I'm going to tell you something important here. Not to do. Do is present infinitive active. It means it's a prolonged form of doing. Not that you just do something one time. This is your course of action. This is the way you live, right? And then charitable deeds is actually exactly the same word as Matthew 5:6. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justification. The righteousness that comes outside of yourself is imputed to you by God. So what he's actually saying is, do not do your justification. Do not perform or act like you are justified before men to be seen by them. This is what he's actually talking about. So before, when we went back to the Beatitudes, Jesus has spoken about religiosity, legalism, and how you get to a place where you're just desperate for a righteousness that's outside of yourself, one that you don't have to be striving and failing, trying to be good enough to get to God. And now he's giving a warning of what could happen after you have justification. So this particular sentence, the first one, is just giving an overall picture. And then in the next few verses and the ones coming after, he's giving examples of what you can do, right? So this first overarching sentence is, you've been saved, you've been justified, but now don't start performing your righteousness, your justification before men like it's some badge of honor, like there's some form of hierarchy in the kingdom, a pecking order. Who is the most righteous? Who has earned the most favor with God? That doesn't exist in God's kingdom. And in fact, this is why Jesus told the parable of the men who were standing in the marketplace waiting for people to hire them. And he went back and he hired different people at different times, even some right at the last hour of the day. And then when it came time to pay them, they all got the same reward, even though some had borne the brunt of the work. This is found in Matthew 20, verses 1 to 6. So there's this subtle temptation after you get salvation by grace to maintain it by performance. And this is why Paul wrote in Galatians as well about Galatians 3:3. You were saved by grace. Why are you now trying to stay saved by works? Okay, this is especially risky if you are in a church where ministry opportunities are given based on your performance. So you can start to perform for people to see rather than for God to see in secret. So things like tithing, but there's a record of the tithing, being in prayer before service, making sure you're on outreach. So you know, there's a difference in how you're doing it, right? Are you doing it because you are justified by God, you're so saved, you're grateful, you want to just live in a way that's going to glorify God, and you're out of your gratitude? You know what I mean? You're not to earn God's favor, but because you're so grateful that, like I said, we love because he loved us first, right? He loved you first. Now you love him with all your heart. Or is it that I'm saved, but now I want ministry, so I need to make sure I'm seen to be doing those things? I've got to make sure there's a record of my tithe. I've got to make sure I'm seen in morning prayer. Like, I've got to make sure I'm seen in prayer before service. So I might even time it that I come when I know the pastor's there, so that he's going to clock that I've been there. So this is what Jesus is talking about now. It's like it's not just doing these righteous things, it's performing them to be seen by men. This is the warning that he's given. This is the subtle temptation. And also, don't forget, what he's also doing is he's talking in a way that where these religious elites are, he's calling out their hypocrisy, because they do this. They perform for other people to see. And they're so righteous that they esteem them, they put them in the highest places, they honor them, because these are such righteous people and we need to respect them and we need to honor them. So there's this whole fanfare that goes along with it. Jesus says if you aren't careful here, you will lose your heavenly reward, because you've already getting your reward from people in the way that they look at you. In the culture back then, they actually did have this trumpet blowing, where Jesus was saying, don't blow the trumpet before you give your charitable deeds. This actually did happen. The rich people would come in and blow a trumpet and create this whole big fanfare so that everybody looked and watched as they gave their big rewards. This charitable deed is a different Greek word. It's not the same. It means to give alms to the poor, to be a benefactor to somebody. So this is not just putting money into the offering. This is actually doing something good for somebody who's less fortunate than yourself, or being a benefactor to somebody. And then he was saying, don't do this for other people to see, drawing attention to it. The modern day version of that is go on social media, film what you're doing. Everything you do, it has to be put out there for likes and hoping it's going to go viral so that everyone thinks so well of you because you're doing this thing. That's the modern day blowing the trumpet. So just like the Pharisees wanted people's attention and they wanted people to view them as such wonderful people, they're so righteous, they're doing so much good in the world, the same thing can happen on social media, that you're putting things out there for people to give you likes, you're hoping to go viral, you're hoping to get money from YouTube, and it's not really about caring for that person. It's more about how many likes will I get, how viral will this go, that kind of motivation in the heart. And we always remember that God doesn't see just what we do, he also looks at the motivation of our heart. So then he goes on to say, when you give your alms to the poor, it should be so secret that even it's like your left hand doesn't know what your right hand is doing. That's incredibly secret. Also, he says not just that it is in secret, the way this Greek word is means it exists in secret. So just like Jesus, when he said, I am, meaning I am now and I'm going to carry on existing, this is the same kind of thing. So your giving exists in secret. So it's not just secret now, but then later on the line, you're going to start blabbing about it. Oh yeah, I remember when I did this, and I remember when I gave this person that. It doesn't, there's no time limit on it being a secret. Like I can give it and I have to keep it secret now, but later down the line, I can just tell everybody and I can glorify all the things that I've done. This has to exist in secret and remain in secret for you to get your reward, okay? Then he says, your Father who discerns or perceives the concealed will recompense, restore, pay back, and reward you. So this is why you keep it concealed. This is why you keep it. Your Father sees what is concealed. He sees it and he pays it back. So some people wonder, why is it I see some people getting financially blessed, that I see them just getting breakthrough after breakthrough financially, and I don't understand why. Some of this is mindset, that they've tapped into kingdom principles that you haven't tapped into. But some of it is also exactly this, that they have given in the past and kept it 100% concealed, and God is rewarding them openly for the things that they have done in the past. So this also applies. It's not favoritism. God doesn't have favoritism. The same blessings are available to everybody, but they may well be having their recompense for things that they've done in secret, and kept them concealed. Remember, we reap what we sow. That's another principle. So if you start blowing your trumpet, you start declaring your own righteousness, you lose that heavenly payback. And that, my friend, the heavenly payback is worth far more than the opinion of man or the social media likes. But there's another reason as well why Jesus says to give in secret. And although he's not spoken of here, it is very, very important. When you give, and you give in a way that is clearly from you, people feel gratitude to you. And they can also start to look at you as a source of provision, and they can come back again and again and again. Whereas if your giving is 100% in secret, then that gratitude is directed to God, because they have nowhere else to send their gratitude. I've had that. I've had when I've looked in my bank account and thought, let me just check how much money I've got because I need to go to the groceries and I'm not sure how much I've got. I just need to check so that I can add up and make sure I can pay for it. And I'm going to open my bank account. This is in Trinidad dollars. There's almost $3,000 extra in my bank account. I'm like, who was that? I checked my bank account and all it says is gift, anonymous. They kept it in secret and I could not find out who it was. And I even phoned a couple of people that were friends. Said, you put money in my bank account? No, it wasn't me. That person gave and it remained a secret. It's concealed. And God will reward them openly for that. So my gratitude, because I didn't know who to thank, my gratitude was directed to God. In my prayers were like, God, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful that you did that. Because ultimately, he's the one who stirs people's hearts to give. He's the one who stirs people's hearts to will and to do his good pleasure. And this is why a lot of wealthy people set up NPOs and they set up charities, because that way they can direct their giving through the charity and have people be grateful for what they've got through the charity, but not actually know who gave that money to them in the first place. Anonymous giving and anonymous help directs the praise to God rather than to ourselves. And it also frees us from the ego and pride that can come when we start telling other people what we can do. And this whole thing of not letting one hand know what the other one is doing it's almost like with you yourself. Your giving needs to be that you don't even dwell on it yourself. You're not keeping score of, oh, I've done so much, oh, I've given so much, I'm so proud of myself. You have to be very careful. You conceal it and it stays there, right? Not for you to like peel the blanket back and look at it and go, oh, congratulate myself, pat myself on the back, I've done so much, and then cover it up again. This is what Jesus is saying. God doesn't look at just what we do, he looks at why we are doing it. Okay, who are you seeking glory for with what you are doing? Is it just that you're acting because you love God and you recognize that every single person is created in the image of God and you know that when you bless other people, you bless God? Or is it because you really want people to notice and you really want the acclaim and you really want the respect that comes from it? So this is why we have to be careful of our motives. Jesus' speech here as well, like I said, it was a big expose on the religious elites and how they gave in order to be glorified and admired, not because they actually cared. They didn't really care. So Jesus' warning here is not to judge the regular people. Remember, I've said that before. He's not beating up the regular people and saying, this is the high standard, you've got to live to this if you want to be saved. It's not what he's doing. His whole Sermon on the Mount was calling out religious hypocrisy. Having said that, it is still important to check ourselves when we're doing good. Are there any areas in our lives where we are seeking validation through spiritual performance? Are we doing good but for the wrong motives, seeking the approval of man and not God? And if so, why? What is it that you fear? Have you forgotten, like the Galatians, that your worth and your value and your spiritual salvation is actually based on what he did, not what you did? Or are you trying to gain favor or position? You've fallen into that trap. Either way, whatever it is, this scripture is a reminder for us to fix our eyes on Jesus and to remind ourselves that what we do because we care, we do because we love God, and we do because we care about those people who are created in the image of God. And then we do it, and then we cover it, we conceal it, and God will reward in due season. I hope this study has been a blessing to you. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with other people who like deep Bible studies and how they apply to life today. God bless you. See you in the next study.